The purpose of this show is to guide you to realign with habits that get you to live the life you've always dreamed of. This is the Habit Based Lifestyle Podcast with Jesse Ewing. This is the habit-based lifestyle where you can access your full potential right now. Finally break free from destructive habits. That dream life, if you want it, you can have it. This is where you transform your health, mind, business, and relationships, or do nothing and keep your life the way it is. But if you're ready for change, you're in the right place. This is where you're gonna learn how to live a habit-based lifestyle. You are tuning in to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Jesse Ewing. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle. Let's go.
All right, guys, welcome to Habit-Based Lifestyle. And I'm here interviewing one of our brand new clients, Krista Moreland. And she's done amazing in her first 30-day. I think today is actually her 30th day in the program. Krista, I want to welcome you. And can you give everybody just kind of a little intro on who you are and what you do?
Yeah, my name is Krista Moreland. I run and own KMore Macro. I help busy mamas on the go lose weight and find, confidence in who they are without guilt and shame. Anyone who's a mama out there, guilt and shame is a very real thing. And when we spend time focusing on ourselves, that tends to be where our head goes. And so I help mamas kind of navigate that and get to where they want to go without it.
Okay, awesome. Can you tell me a little bit about kind of like where you were prior to joining the Habit-Based Lifestyle Accelerator, just kind of where you were in your business?
Yeah. So, this is my 7th year of running my business, and I'm a hustler. I grind, I hustle. I do all the things. I'm not afraid to do all the things. And this last year, I don't know if it was a COVID thing or like I just kind of panicked a little bit, but I did all the things. I mean, started a monthly membership. I ran a summit. I hired 2 different coaches. I started a podcast. I created a DIY course, and I was doing everything because I felt like doing everything was forward motion, but I wasn't making any extra money. So I'm doing all the things and burning myself out and freaking out inside because I could not get myself in front of my people so that I could impact them and change their world forever.
Right.
And so when I came to you in December, I had kind of hit the wall. And I remember telling you in tears in my car, waiting to pick up dessert for Christmas. It was Christmas Eve when you and I were on the phone.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah. And I'm sitting in my car in my Christmas sweater. And I'm like, Jesse, this is my last ditch effort. I'm freaking tired. I'm exhausted and I don't want to do this anymore. Like, it's not fun. And this is it. Like, I pray to Jesus that you've got a way. And what attracted me to you, honestly, a good friend of mine recommended that I call you and reach out to you. And what attracted me to what you were doing was it was night and day different from what I had been doing. My job, my business had become everything and my life had become secondary. And I lost myself in that and I didn't know how to get out from under it. And so that's what attracted me to this was, no, it's life first, then business, and stop doing all the things because they're not helping you.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing is, everybody's saying we got to have a podcast or, I think remember talking to you, it's like, hey, my coaches are telling me I need to change my hair. I need to change my makeup. And I remember having that conversation. I'm like, why do you have to change all those things? Like, that's who you are. And I remember I can't remember exactly what you said, but you're like, they're telling me I need to change all these things on the exterior. And yet no one ever really focused on what was going on inside.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was drowning. I was telling my current coaches, like, I'm doing all the things, everything you asked me to do, I'm doing. Cause I'm a 2-sport college athlete. When your coach says jump, you say, yes, ma'am, how high? And you jump. Right. Yeah. And I know that, that's just how I'm wired. And so when it came to personal, how I looked, there was a disconnect there. And it was that was the moment where I was like, these aren't my people. This isn't where I'm supposed to be. I have to break away from this, because if you're more concerned that I show up with a messy, disheveled hairdo and no makeup to connect with my clients, then that's not me. That would be unauthentic of me to show up like that. I like to be put together. I like to put makeup on. That's who I am. So you're asking me to be somebody I'm not, to show up for people that aren't my people.
Right.
And so that was a big, like, what's happening here,
Okay. So let's talk about, like, what were you getting as far as leads, say, like, for the last 6 months before you started our program?
So I had probably, I think, max 3 leads a month.
Okay.
And I couldn't tell you how they came. I track everything, but it was super random. Like, somebody saw an email, somebody saw me on Google. Actually, I got one from my podcast, which I really love my podcast because I'm a teacher at heart. I have my master's in education. And so I love that component of it, but it was just so random. Like, there was no method, and that caused me extreme anxiety, because it's a waiting game. You never know when anything's going to happen. Right. So they were sparse, and it was stressful for sure.
Okay. So you had a couple coaches, they're like, hey, you need to change all these things on the exterior. You can't wear makeup and look put together. You need to, like, whatever.
Yeah.
And, you're getting 3 leads, not really knowing how they're coming in a month, averaging so let me ask you this, what's changed for you in the last 30 days, just since you've been inside of the Habit Based Lifestyle Accelerator?
I just got off the phone with a buddy of mine who follows my stuff. He's an entrepreneur as well. He knows you very well. And he said, hey, before I even ask you anything, I just got to tell you, I've noticed a big shift in how you're engaging with people on your social media platforms. And I knew what shift he was talking about, but I wanted to hear, what are you perceiving of it? And he said, you're real. You're showing up as you, and you're asking questions that people want to know the answers to. And he's like, it's just such a different feel. And I was grateful to hear him say that, because I think that's the biggest shift. My power word for 2021 is simplicity, right? And listen, we're overwhelmed. Mamas are overwhelmed. And I feel like these mamas are connecting to that power word. And so that's what I've done in my business. I've simplified. I'm asking simple questions that are triggering their thoughts and their idea. Like, oh my gosh, I resonate with that. That makes sense to me. And I think in simplifying things, it's just allowed me to connect with my people at such a deeper level.
Awesome. That's awesome. So, let's talk about, results from a financial perspective. Because that was one of the things when you came in, you're like, hey, it's kind of my last ditch effort. I may need to go get a normal job, and kind of forget doing this. And I remember, like, you were actually in tears at the time when we were saying, I'm like, oh my gosh, we're on, like, our first call, and I'm already making you cry. I'm already making you cry. But, like,
done that a few times, Jesse.
Yeah, I know. What has been the financial result for you just in the last 30 days?
Yeah. So, I think when we are living in scarcity, which 2020 was a scarcity year for, I think, a lot of people, we start to really focus on the money. And one of the things that I said to myself in January was, simplicity is where I want to live. And I want to stop focusing on the outcome, and I want to start focusing on the process. And that, what we've talked about, what we've done, has allowed me to do that. And in doing that, the leads have come, right? So this week alone, I've got 6 sales calls. I have 4 new clients. I have one like in 5 minutes. And then last Friday, I had 2 sales calls. I have 2 new clients. And I've also done, from your advice, I've reached out to previous clients who need a little more accountability, right? 2020 has been a doozy for everyone, and they just need somebody to step in and hold them accountable and get them going in the right direction again. And so I reached out to some of those people, and in an honest, compassionate, curious heart, asked them, where are you and can I help you? And they responded to that with, yeah, actually, I'm so glad you reached out. I do need help. And the last 4, clients that I talk to on the phone, they just need somebody to come alongside them. They knew someone like me existed out there. They didn't know how to find me. And I, through your process, have been able to put myself in front of them to show them like, here I am, I can help you. This is what I do. And it's just been a really powerful 2 weeks for me. And to be honest with you, I wasn't quite sure at the very beginning. You said, I'll give me 30 days. And I was like, all right, dude, I'll give you 30 days, but you better have something.
No,
like,
I said, hey,
magical.
give me 30 days. If you don't get results, I'll give you all your money back.
Yeah. And for me, I was like, you know what? I've spent so much money on coaches, and not one of them has said that to me, and not one of them has meant it. I did have one say it to me, and he didn't mean it, because he did not produce, he did not help me. And that's a whole nother story for another podcast or another session. But when you said that, I was like, all right, then the risk is not on me. I show up for me every day. I put in the work. I will invest in myself 100 times over. And I'm super glad that it worked that way. It's been a really incredible experience over the last 3.5, 4 weeks.
Awesome. So financial result, I'll tell you, like you've hit 17,000, I think, in sales.
Yep.
When is the last time you've done this in a month in your program?
It was probably February of last year, right before the pandemic hit.
Okay.
I had my best month, and then the world kind of.
What was your best month?
In February of last year was 27K.
Okay. So we got a few more people we got to close before the end of the month to hit that.
Yeah.
But you're on your path. And I would say you've really done this in the last probably 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's been really cool to see. Let me ask you this. What has been kind of an unexpected result you've gotten out of this program that you maybe didn't think anything about coming into it?
I think one of the biggest wins for me is feeling reconnected to my business. I felt very detached. All the things that I was doing because I was being told to do it, but it didn't feel like me. And here's the thing about moms. Moms need to be nurtured. They need to be touched. They need to be talked to. They don't respond to a landing page or a this or that. And so in your process, I found like sometimes we just need a little extra like bump, like, hey girl, I see you. And that was something that I was missing. And I love to come alongside mamas and do that. But I had gotten really detached in the technological world, right? And so it's really easy to get lost in that. And I think that's my biggest win is I feel reconnected to my business and to my people, to the people I want to serve.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, you can't really outsource connection with your ideal client. And that's what I'm really hearing. What has been the network like for you with other entrepreneurs, business owners in the group? What has that been like?
So I'm a two-sport college athlete, a former two-sport college athlete. I used to CrossFit all the time. Group fitness is my jam. And one of the things that, I really missed being an entrepreneur, because here's my staff, you see them, right? Like it's me, myself, and I. And I've got like-minded people around me who are on the same journey, and there's some heckling going on. There's some teasing, there's some, laughters and jokes and just real raw honesty about where people are. And that's refreshing to me. It's that camaraderie that I haven't had a whole lot of. And so it's definitely a piece that I was missing and that I'm grateful to have in your community that you've created for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love to hear that. I know you got to get going because you got to go close somebody else.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you one last question. Like,
Okay.
What would you tell someone who was kind of on the fence of purchasing this program or joining this community? What would you tell them?
I actually was just talking to the client, my new client, on a sales call earlier, an hour ago. And she was feeling really regretful of all the diets she had done, HCG and intermittent fasting and keto and all of this stuff. And in our discussion, I said, hey, but that led you here. Like, I know that feels like failure. I know it feels like a waste. I know it feels like you just suck, but it led you to this phone call right here. And you're better for it because you know what you don't want and you know what you do want. And we're going to clear that all up, and we're going to get you laser focused to get to where you want to go. So if you're hearing this video, Don't feel regretful or remorseful of all the life things that have slapped you around. It's brought you right here. And taking chances is the only way to move forward. I had no idea what was going to happen, but staying the same was not okay. I was not okay with staying the same. Something was going to change, whether I did this or I quit what I was doing and moved on to something else. And I'm just really glad that I made the choice to embark on this, because it has revitalized my business, my energy, and just my feeling about, how to move forward.
Yeah, and that's awesome. I also want to point out that Krista, a couple of weeks ago, I was like, listen, you need to take the weekend off.
Yeah.
She's like, oh my gosh, I can't do that. And I was like, listen, take the weekend off. And I honestly think that was when that really started for you, that 2 weeks. It was like you were revitalized and you're like, oh my gosh, I can breathe again. And I've watched you hang out with your kids, your family, and really make that more of a priority. Not that it wasn't before, but I think you're more present when you're with them. And that's been really cool to watch. And I just want you to know how proud of you I am. I know you got to go. I'll get you off here, and can't wait to see what you do in the coming months. So
thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on, and your guidance and your expertise, and just your passion for what you do really shines through, and I'm grateful for it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Well, go get your next sale.
Thank you. See ya. Bye.
Bye-bye.
The purpose of this show is to guide you to realign with habits that get you to live the life you've always dreamed of. This is the Habit Based Lifestyle Podcast with Jesse